Now here is a formula that estimates the population of the United States from 1980 through 2000. Population at time t, and t is actually the year. If you plug in the year from 1980 to 2000, the estimate of the population is 2.745 times t, the year, minus 5210.35. Now this is all in millions. So you're actually subtracting 5,210 million, which is roughly speaking, 5 billion. And this is 2.745 million times t. T is the year, so P of t will give us the population. So using this formula, let's estimate the population of the United States in 1980 and 1995. So we're going to compute these two values. So we've got P of 1980, so T is 1980. 2.745 times 1980 minus 5210.35. Well, I plugged that into the calculator and I got 224.75, and remember what this is, it's all in millions. So I'll just write it like that, 224.75 million. And now we'll look at the population estimate for 1995. We would get 2.745 times 1995, the time, the year, minus 5210.35. And if you plug that into the calculator, you'll get 265.925 million. That's the answer. So just about 266 million, nearly. Well, now we're going to use that function above, and we're going to extrapolate a little bit. We're going to assume that function is good even beyond the year 2000. Let's use it to estimate when the population will reach 400 million. So 400 million is the left side. P of t is 400 million. And we need to figure out what value of t, in other words, what year, will give us a population of 400 million. So we must determine when P of t, which is 400 million, is equal to 2.745 times t minus 5210.35. I just copied the formula, the function from above. So setting 400 equal to 2.745 t minus 5210.35. What I'm going to do is subtract this, actually add this number to both sides, the 5210.35, to cancel that out. Add 5210 to both sides, and we would get, on this side, we'd get 5210 plus 400, 5610.35 is equal to 2.745 t. So let me go to the right here. If I divide both sides by 2.745 to get t by itself, I get t equals 5610.35 over 2.745. And if you plug that into the calculator, you get the year 2043.84. So I'm going to round that up. I'm going to use a squiggly equals to say it's approximately 2044. So using that formula, the estimate of when the population will hit 400 million in the United States is roughly the year 2044. Okay, let's look at the next example. Andre works full-time. Full-time usually means at least 40 hours per week at the local sandwich shop. He makes $9 an hour for normal time. That means his first 40 hours he works, he gets $9 per hour. And he makes time and a half for each hour over 40. So every hour you work over 40 hours, or Andre, he will make time and a half. Thus, if H is the number of overtime hours, his weekly salary S of H, could be determined by this rule. Well, let's see. Before we write that down, how much does he make for working 40 hours? 40 hours would be 40 times 9, which is $360. So that means he makes $360 if he doesn't work any overtime at all, but just works exactly 40 hours. But overtime pay is time and a half, means you get 1.5 times your regular hourly pay times 9. That's $13.50 per hour. So now let's write the formula. It looks pretty straightforward. He always works at least 40 hours. So he's going to make $360 for the first 40 hours plus $13.50 times H. So, for example, if H is 0, it means he worked no overtime. H is 0, that term goes away. He made $360. If H were 1, that means he made $360 plus $13.50 times 1, or just $13.50. Okay, so let's use this formula to determine S of 5. And remember what S is. When you plug in a 5, it means he worked 5 overtime hours. That's H, the number of overtime hours. So S of 5 is 360 plus 13.50 times 5. 13.50 times 5, that'd be $67.50 right here. If you multiply that out and you add it to 360, you'd get $427.50. Okay, 2 more here. Let's find Andre's weekly salary when he works 46.5 hours. Well, what do? We're not going to plug 46.5 hours into this function S. S takes H, which is the number of overtime hours. So we first need to say how many overtime hours. That's the number of overtime hours, 6.5. So that's what gets plugged into the function. And so it would simply be S of 6.5, because again, 46.5 hours means 6.5 hours were overtime. That's equal to 360 plus 13.50 times 6.5. And if you multiply that out, you get $447.75. Finally, in this last one, we're going to be told how much he made for the week. $410. How many hours of overtime did Andre work? Well, normally with no overtime, he makes $360. So, if I take 410 minus 360, I get $50 in overtime pay. He made $50 in overtime pay. So, how am I going to figure out how many hours that was? Well, 50 is equal to 13.5 times H. You take his overtime pay per hour times the number of hours of overtime, and you get 50. So that means that H is equal to, divide both sides by 1350, and H will be by itself. 50 divided by 1350, and we get just approximately, almost exactly, 3.7 hours.